It's Mike for kmiTV, and I'm here with Alex Vincent. You might know him as Andy from Child's Play. I'm sure this isn't your first MonsterCon. How's it
No,
going?
this is my 12th Monster Mania, I think. I mean, I'm a Jersey guy, really. I grew up here, so this was my local show. So I've come down to this one a bunch. But I live in Florida now, but I've come up, I think, for the past two August shows.
That's great. What do you think of how the fans, react to you?
I think it's great. I mean, I've been doing these conventions for like 7, 8 years now, and luckily the horror genre has fans that are just very passionate and dedicated about the genre. It's not like comedy conventions don't really exist, or if they do, it's not anything you hear about. I think that I was lucky to be in a film in this genre that people still support it. Now 24 years later.
Were you a twisted child? I mean, this is kind of, how you were brought up, around this. I mean, these pictures are a little ridiculous.
No, I've said it's been a different perspective for me my whole life with this movie, obviously, because in filming it, we did every take 20 times. I was very aware. I was a pretty bright 6-year-old kid. I mean, I had a very good concept of what was going on, so I never felt like the doll was trying to kill me. I never felt like I was in any danger. I always say when the director said cut, he stopped trying to kill me, and I knew that, And all the other thing is that to get the doll to do the right thing and move just the right way, we had to do many takes 20, 30 times. Like, for the doll to be in the back of the truck and flip off the car behind him, that took many, many tries to get. So if you're doing something 20 times in a row, if it wasn't scary the first time, it's definitely not going to be scary an hour and a half later.
Now, I know when I was a kid, I had a My Buddy doll, and my mother hid it from me because of you and your movie. Were there any other parents that were like, look what you did to my child?
Well, not only that, but the My Buddy dolls themselves, I hear about them all the time, and I think they went out of business after Chucky because everyone was ripping their heads off and burying them in their backyard, and I hear stuff about the way that this doll affected people's childhood all the time, and I think the reason why is because you can relate. Any kid with an imagination has thought once about their doll or their sister's doll or something in the house coming to life and trying to kill them. I mean, I had an imagination like that as a kid. I think a lot of people do. So when you see this film, it kind of just reminds you of the thoughts that you've already had about what could possibly happen, and then you actually see it, and I think people could relate to it. It's funny because I hear a lot of times oh, I watch horror movies. I hear from grown men, I watch horror movies my whole lives, and they don't scare me at all, but that doll, I can't look at him, I think it's because people could actually see it happening, as impossible as it is. In their minds, they could picture it, so.
What do you think of, now they've gone to future installments, what do you think of what they've done with Chucky's, hanging out with Red Man and doing all types of weird things? What do you think of the new movies?
I think that it had to get silly. Otherwise, it couldn't be taken seriously for that long. I mean, the original concept, like I said, is relatable and people can understand. And then you bring it back for a sequel, and that could work, I guess. But yeah, to do 4 or 5 films, you can't consistently just keep it scary. You gotta. It would become too stupid, and people would make fun of it. So I think Don's idea and the idea of the direction of the films were make fun of yourself before anyone else does. And it's worked out for them. I mean, I meet people all the time that know the series well, and they enjoy the films for different reasons. I think people appreciate the first 2 films for what they were, for the horror, and then as they've gotten silly, people enjoy it just as much for different reasons. So I think they probably went with it the only way that they really could have.
And you said you live in Florida now?
I do. Yeah.
What are you up to in Florida?
I went to a school called Full Sail University in Orlando. I went for recording arts. They have a film program, but I've always been into music. I'm not a musician, but I've always been into music and electronic music, and so I went there and got certified for Pro Tools and learned a lot about that industry, and it's kind of helping me piece together different creative outlets for me. I mean, I'm not really an actor. I mean, I've done acting through most of my life. I'll probably will still do some more acting, and it's not that I don't enjoy it or I wouldn't get into it. I would, but I've written a lot. I'm passionate about that kind of things. I've written poetry, I've written songs, I've written stories, I've written screenplays. And now the audio end of it, I've got a pretty good handle on, and hopefully I piece it all together and do something great someday. That's the plan.
Oh, I'm just happy that you're normal.
Close enough, I guess.
Alex Vincent.